Hello everybody, I'm going to talk today about persistence of two pyrethroid insecticides under greenhouse conditions. Uh, Residues of pesticides are potential risk to consumers from short-term impact into a chronic impact. Permethrin and cypermethrin are two insecticides commonly used in agriculture production. The difference between the two is that cypermethrin has a cyanide group on the alpha carbon. Generally, pyrethroids are important group of insecticides due to their relatively low toxicity to mammals, and permethrin is formulated and sold in the form of cis and trans isomers. So a simple and accurate method that is cost-effective is needed to determine these two pesticides, insecticides on vegetables and fruits. As you can see, cypermethrin had the alpha cyanide group on the alpha carbon, and the primary mode of action of these pyrethroids actually is in insects and mammals is actually on the sodium channel. Type 1 pesticides and type 2 pesticides are actually in the formulation of pyrethrins. Type 1 is the alpha cis and type 2 is mainly the trans. So the objective of this investigation was to separate and quantify permethrin and cypermethrin isomers and determine the dissipation and half-life of these on cucumber plants grown under greenhouse condition, and also to determine the fruit harvest time with respect to the maximum residue limits and the worker re-entry intervals. The methods that we used actually is a simple method by using GC equipped with ECT detector, and also we used to confirm the presence of the isomers and the isolated tweaks using GCMS. As you can see here, we used an open glass chromatographic column to actually purify the extracts from the plant pigment. You see here that the cis and trans isomers of permethrin are clearly separated, and you can see also the isomers of cypermethrin also can be easily separated and quantified based on that chromatogram. Confirmation of the peaks was actually using GCMS. You see that the molecular weight is 390 for permethrin, and cypermethrin is 415. And you see was the separation and the quantification was, and the confirmation was mainly on the ion fragments. This is the two isomers of permethrin. The four isomers of cypermethrin can be easily quantified based on this standardization. Cucumber leaves, as you can see, where you can see also that permethrin 1 is residues on the cucumber leaves are higher than the fruits, and you can see also that on cucumber fruits you see that cypermethrin 1 or permethrin 1 was actually higher compared to permethrin 2. Or in other words, the cis was higher than the trans isomer. So we did the graphics here based on the residue dissipation of the pyrethrin and also the log residues to get the half-life values. You can see also here that the cypermethrin and the permethrin can be easily quantified using the identification of each peak. Cucumber leaves and the fruits, usually the residues on the leaves were higher than on the fruits of the cucumber plants. This is probably or mainly due to the high surface area of the leaves compared to the fruits per gram of sample. Here is also, can you see cucumber leaves and the dissipation of the cis and trans in cypamethrin. And also you can see here the cucumber fruits dissipation of cypamethrin and the separation of the isomers. Now in conclusion, you can see here that the half-life of or the initial deposits of permethrin or cypamethrin was greater on the leaves than on the fruits. Also, the T-half values of cypamethrin was lower on the leaves than on the fruits, and therefore the cyanide group can actually reduce the persistence of cypamethrin compared to permethrin. In conclusion, the method developed in this investigation was capable of quantifying the cis and trans isomers separately, and T-half values of permethrin were 3.3 and 14 and 13 days on cucumber leaves and the fruits respectively, whereas the T-half values of cypamethrin were 1.3 and 3.3 days on cucumber leaves and the fruits respectively. So permethrin degraded on cucumber leaves and the fruits slowly compared to cypamethrin. So based on the maximum residue limits of 0.05 microgram per gram fresh tissue, the re-entry interval of cypamethrin of 13 days was required to allow permethrin to dissipate below the allowable limits, whereas the re-entry interval of cypamethrin was only 6 days under greenhouse conditions. Thank you. This presentation was supported by USDA grant under this agreement number.